Hello, hello. Welcome back to another edition of the Literary Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Taora Moody, and I am continuing a series that I started earlier this summer with some literary service providers that I personally work with, and I wanted you to get to know them as well. Today, we're going to talk to LaShaunda Hoffman. She is the owner of SoarMag magazine, which is actually a magazine as well as a blog, and it provides some great book promotion services that I think you'll be interested in hearing more about. So in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking with LaShaunda Hoffman. I think it's an interview you definitely want to sit down with pen and paper because she provides lots of great advice that you want to note as you put together your book promotion marketing plan.
So without further ado, we would like to introduce to you and we want to welcome to the podcast LaShaunda Hoffman. LaShaunda, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
Not a problem. As I was stating to you before, I look forward to every time that I sit down to do my book marketing plan for a book. I always include SoarMag because you're one of my favorite book promotion providers out there. So before we get into that, I always like for the guests to tell a little bit about themselves. So tell us a little bit about who's LaShaunda Hoffman.
I'm LaShaunda Hoffman. I started reading at 4 and have never stopped. I love books, and I never ever thought about having a career with books, but God had other plans. So I love romance, and that was how I got into this business. I was an avid romance reader. I got my books, and that's all I talked about was romance books. And I loved the authors, and I found that a lot of people didn't promote the authors, the African-American authors, so I wanted to do something to help promote those books. And I took that and turned it into an online magazine. I'm also a writer. I write Christian fiction, and I'm currently working on my first nonfiction book about online promotion. I will be honest and say that I've let fear rule me for many years and not do anything with my writing. And this year I decided to move past my fear and become an indie publisher. So hopefully sometime this year I'll have a book out.
Well, also, I would have to say I am so looking forward to that, Ms. Hoffman, that you're going to finally have a book out. I've known you for quite a while. I was thinking the other day, I think I've known you since around 98 or 99. It's when we first met, kind of online. We have met in person at once before, but we've known each other for a long time. And I think
we met on a social group. I think it was called Sister Friends. Sister Friends was the group. That was a fun group. I wonder what happened to her. And
I know.
Yeah, some of my best buddies I met online. So, yeah.
And I remember back then, actually, when you were just starting your magazine, and it's called SoarMag. Well, tell us what SoarMag stands for.
Well, SoarMag is Shades of Romance magazine. And when I went to go by the name Shades of Romance, that was already gone. And so I was like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? And so I took the initials, S-O-R, and then put M-A-G on it. And I never even thought about calling the magazine SoarMag, but the readers started doing that. And so it just stuck with me. I was like, it's easier. I don't have to say Shades of Romance. And that helped a lot because when we first started out, all the authors were romance. And then the authors decided they wanted to write women's fiction, they wanted to write paranormal, they wanted to write mystery, all other stuff. And so instead of us going, well, we're going to shut down and not do anymore, we moved with the authors and we start promoting all kind of literature, nonfiction and everything. And that's how SoarMag came out. We just wanted to help the authors get their books out there in front of readers.
Well, you do have a magazine that you do publish, right? I think you do it monthly. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, well, SORMAG started off as a website. I wanted to do a magazine, but at the time I had no funds, and it was very expensive to do a magazine. So I talked to this young lady who was doing an online magazine, and she kind of showed me the steps of doing an online magazine. And so I went that route. I created a website and put it up there. I interviewed like 5 or 6 authors, and that was the first issue. And people came and started reading it, and so it went from there. And then one year I decided I wanted to do print, and so we offered print for probably 2 or 3 years. My mom was diagnosed with kidney failure, and so a lot of the stuff that I did for the magazine ended up having to stop because I had to become her caretaker and take care of her. So we stopped the print magazine for a couple of years and went to the blog concept. I love the blog concept because it was easier to talk to people. You could get a lot of feedback. You know, when you got a website, you don't really get too much interaction. People stop by, but you're not talking to them. So when we went to the blog concept, it was fun because you could get people you could post questions and people would respond. Or if they read the article, they would put down what they liked about the article or the interview. And so in 2012, a friend of mine, she created her own magazine, the book club, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure, the book club 101 magazine by Tanisha Webb. She created one, and I was just amazed by how nice it was, and that, you know, she did it herself, and she told me different things of what to do. And so I said, you know what, I want to bring the digital form of SORMAG back. And so I decided to sit down and create the magazine. And so now it comes out quarterly. It was bi-monthly, but I've moved it to quarterly, summer, spring, winter, and fall. And we feature at least 4 to 5 authors each month, promotions about books, stuff that's happening in the industry, and articles about writing. And then we offer just some help for authors who are writing and need some motivation and stuff like that. And that's free. The magazine is free, but if you want the print copy, then you have to pay a fee for that. But it's been going on. This will be our 3rd year, and it's been doing pretty good.
Well, awesome. And I've seen your magazines. They are great and wonderful. You have lots of great articles contributed by other writers and authors. So well worth investing in for folks who are looking for resources. Now, you also have a couple other products or services that you offer. For a new author, say there's a new author out there, they have a book coming out in about 2 or 3 months. What are some services they can come to you to kind of help them promote their book with?
Well, my policy is the first promotion is on me, the second one, third one, fourth, or fifth one is on you. And so I always offer a free interview for the author so the readers can know who's this person, what is their book about, and, you know, why should I support them. And then I also give you a free ad in our e-blast that we do. And I ask you to join our SORMAG authors, and I do like monthly sales and things like that for you to help promote your books. In the magazine, we offer 4 interviews, 4 on the blog, and then 4 in the actual digital form. And so that's the interviews that we do. And then we just reopened our reviews. I was having a lot of issues with reviews, so I closed them down for a little while. We were having people, I was sending out books, and they weren't making it to my reviewers. And it was a pain in the, I don't know what, trying to, you know, find the books, what happened to them and stuff. And so I just closed it down. And now everything is going to e-form, and so we're accepting reviews again in the e-books. Simpler, it's cheaper for the writer. They don't have to mail it out. They can just send it to us, and I can send them to the reviewers quickly. That's the free stuff that we do. And then for our paid promotion, we offer e-blast. And we have a SORMAG community that's my opt-in email list, and then my social media list that we go out to. and that we do something at least every day, something you find out about a new book or a new literary event or something like that every day. I send out the e-blast. And then what else we have? And we also we sell ad space in the digital magazine. And so that's something that's out there permanently as archive. So we try to keep it low cost for the authors because we understand especially as a new person, you're just starting out and most people say, I don't have a budget, but you have a budget. You just have to work around it, and create the money and find the things. There's a lot of places online that help promote the books, and I always say try to help support them because we can't exist if we don't get your support.
Exactly. Now, you did mention something about the different places online where you can promote your books, and you talked about SOMAG being a blog where you've been able to create a bit of a community for readers and authors. So how important is it for an author to have an online presence these days, you think?
I think it's very important because a lot of the bookstores are closing, and so you have to create another way to reach the readers. And social media is probably the best way to reach readers and have fun with it, A lot of writers in the past used to have to travel to do book signings or to do book events and things like that. And now you can just sit in front of your computer and build your reading base. But I tell writers to have at least 2 social media places that they like, enjoy, and participate in. Join a few of the readers groups and have fun. A lot of people hate social media because it's, as they say, time wasting, and it is, but you also have to factor in that this is your business and you want to reach readers daily. You don't want to put out a book and nobody knows that it exists. You want to go out there and you want people. I've learned in this business that people buy from who they know. And so readers are like that. They're talking to you, they're asking you questions about your book, they're posting it on your Facebook page, and you're not responding, they're going to find that is rude, and they're going to move on to the writer who is responding. So don't be one of those drive-by writers who stop by and just post what's going on, what book is out, and my book is out, buy my book, and not communicating with their readers, because those are the ones who get shut down really fast. The readers go on to somewhere else. They don't have time to deal with somebody who doesn't want to make a relationship, and that's what you're doing when you're building your readers base. You're making a relationship with them. They're learning about your books. They're learning about you. You're learning about them. And it's fun. You don't have to make it hard. It's not hard to be on social media. Some people just make it so hard for themselves. And you can be on social media 30 minutes a day and do a lot versus not being on at all.
Exactly. Very true. So, and you talked about some really good tips about how you can really make social media more of a tool and definitely for relationship building. So let's talk about you're an entrepreneur. You run a business. We learned about some of your services. But over the past year, and you've been in business for what you would say definitely over a decade, right? Probably 12. 13 years.
I would say I started making money with it probably, I would say 10 years into, probably 5 years afterwards when I realized, I can make money. The first 5 years it was mostly hobbyist. I didn't really charge anything. Everything was free. And then I started realizing, okay, people buy ad space or something like that. So, yeah, about 10 years.
Okay, well, that's a good segue into, so what are some of the lessons you've learned? You said you started out as a hobby, and I did too. My business, SkyWeb, and I started out first 2 years. I just was having fun playing with websites and learning how to build them. But at some point, what was the point where you start to realize, okay, just doing this for free isn't quite working for you anymore? When did you start to realize that?
Probably when my mom got sick. And I had to, really, my husband worked nights, and so I had two little ones, and I was at home most of the time, and so I lost a lot of friends. So I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not having any fun. And so I went online, and so I started having, being in different groups. I started a writers group, and that's how I advanced to SORMEG with the writers group. And I didn't think about making money with it. It was just something fun, and my husband was like, you're up many nights doing this and you're not making a dime. Why are you driving yourself crazy? And I was going, he's like, you're going to have to give it up. I think you're going to have to give it up. And I was not ready to give it up. And that's how I got into the blog concept, because I was like, I can't give it up. I can't. I'm not ready yet. And so I went into the blog, and people were contacting me about buying space on the blog. I was like, oh, okay. So I started researching, selling ad space on blogs and on things like that. And so that's how I started making a little funds on it. And then I was doing the print thing, so I would sell ad space in the print magazine. And I was like, okay, this is fun. And one of my lessons is that you need to think towards the future. I wasn't thinking towards the future when I did this. I wasn't planning it. This was like a side hustle, as they say, not a full-time job. I never thought of it as being a full-time job. And when I started looking at learning about, planning your business and moving forward, I learned that you have to look at it as a business. I never looked at it as a business per se. So I had to look at it as a business and see, what did I want with this business? What did I want from this business? And, how much time I was going to dedicate to this business, because you have to, if not, you would drive yourself crazy working 24 hours, so you got to shut down, make some vacation time and things like that. I was on the go, working full-time and then working SORMEG full-time, and something had to give, so I was like, okay, this is not going to work like this. So I had to, like I said, think towards the future. Another lesson that I learned was that it's never too late to start your mailing list. When I started SORMEG, I had 16,000 readers visiting me monthly. I thought that was fantastic. It was great. But I had no way of knowing who those people were, what they liked, what they didn't like about the magazine, because at that time, like I said, it was a website. So unless they wrote to me, I had no way of knowing what they thought about the magazine. And so I would say probably 6 or 7 years later, I read about doing the opt-in and creating a mailing list. And that was probably the best thing I ever learned about a business, online and offline, is to create your own opt-in mailing list. Because then you know who your people are that are visiting you, you know who your people are that are buying from you, and you know how to contact them. Because I tell people all the time, yes, you're on Facebook, and yes, you have followers on Facebook, and you got 20 million people on Twitter, but if you don't have their emails in your mailing list, then you're just nothing. It's zero, basically, because if Twitter, Facebook, or any social media shut down tomorrow, you're gone. It's gone. Nothing, and you have to start all over again. And it's hard because people move on to the next person. You're not there. Bye-bye. They're gone to the next person. But if you have your own opt-in mailing list, then if any emergency or something like that happens, you know how to get in touch with your people. And you know when somebody says, when you're trying to sell a book and you can tell them, hey, I've got 1,500 people on my mailing list, versus, no, I don't have a mailing list. Who do you think they're going to talk to? They're going to talk to you because you're building your fan base versus not having anything. And I know a lot of writers who don't have one, and they've been writing books probably 10 years and they don't have a mailing list. They're using Facebook, they're using Twitter, as their mailing list. And I say, no, create your own. Invite these people to join your mailing list so you have your pot of gold, because that's social media, that's their pot of gold, us joining them. But we need our own pot of gold, and that's your mailing list is your pot of gold. As long as you got people's names on there, you can always sell to them. You can always tell them what's happening with you. You can always invite them to events, and it's yours. So that was one of the biggest lessons I learned in the business, to build your own base, and then join the social medias and stuff like that. This last lesson was one that we were talking about earlier. Is to while you're building a presence online, build one offline too. I didn't do that when I started because most of my stuff was online, and I just thought, oh, I can just deal with online. But you have to network offline too. You need to join local organizations. Start your own. I started my own writers group. That saved me a lot because I was able to get off the net and meet with other people and talk to people and learn about different things, from other people who are in the business. And then you meet the people in your community. Most of the people in St. Louis probably don't even know about SORMEG because I don't talk about SORMEG in St. Louis. And that's wrong because this is a business in St. Louis, and I should communicate to the people in my community about St. Louis. So I'm trying to learn how to do that better. And I definitely say for people who aren't, if you're just doing everything online, get offline. Go to some of the stuff that's happening in your community and let them know that you do exist.
Awesome.
So a few tips.
Yeah, you have some really good tips. There's definitely the mailing list. I always tell authors the same thing. I have found the readers that are really loyal to you, that will provide you their email addresses. Those are the ones that when you get ready to post about your next book release or where you're going to be at for a book event offline, they're right there. They'll write you back. Those are probably where your most loyal readers are, those who choose to provide their email address to you. So definitely one of those tips is to build your mailing list. And you mentioned something that's really great, to go offline, to meet people, to join a writer's group. Are there any other tips that you have for new authors who are kind of new to book promotion or new to book marketing?
Yes, I got a couple of them. Don't wait until the day of the book release. Start promoting as soon as you sign the contract, or you decide you have, if you're self-publishing, decide to your release date. Don't wait till the last minute to start promoting your book because you're going to be busy. If you're under a contract, then you got to start on book 2, and so you're not going to have time when that book releases to start, promoting your book. So start doing a little bit at a time. Every day up to the book releases, do something different about the book. Talk about your book. If you don't talk about it, who else will? It's not bragging, it's promoting, and you have to promote your book. Because if you tell me about your book and I like it, then yes, I'm going to go out and to help you promote your book. Some people will, some people won't. But if you talk about your book, if I meet you and you don't tell me anything about your book, how will I know it exists? So you're on Facebook, talk about your book. You don't have to you can tell me about a character. You can tell me about the plot. You can tell me about the setting. Something. Talk about your book every day. That's what I say. Are you promoting your book today? That's my new post I'm putting out there. Are you promoting your book today? Because some people aren't. And then they wonder why they're not having any sales. You can't have sales if nobody knows the book exists. And just because you don't have a budget doesn't mean you can't promote your book. There are many sites who help promote for free. You get on Google or get on your favorite search engine and find the sites, the blogs, and the magazines that promote your genre, and then read their guidelines. Find out how you're supposed to submit to them, and then introduce yourself to them. I have a lot of people who contact me who they've heard of SORMEG, but they think we only promote romance, and I like that they still step out and go, I know you promote romance, but would you be interested? And that's good because they tried. You went out there and went past your comfort zone. And I say a lot of people don't. They decide that they're writing a book and they just aren't going to have time to promote it. They'll just put it out there on the shelf. Well, a lot of book stores are closing now, so it's not on the shelf anymore. You got to let people that's out there. That's why you have your mailing list. That's the first group of people you tell about your book is coming out. Then you go to your social media and you make sure your social media goes out. Then you call your friends and family and you tell them and you ask them, please tell people about my books. And then if you got some loyal fans, you start an influencer list. And those are the people who are going to get out there and talk about your book. I'm going to plug somebody today that her name is Piper Hughley. I hope I'm saying her name right. But she just published her book, and the book is wonderful. And so what am I doing? I'm talking about it. I'm telling people, hey, get out there and get this book. It's great. You know, and that's an influencer. That's what I call myself, an influencer. If I read something I like it, I'm going to tell people about it. You know, so you want to get those readers who's going to do that for you. And then when you got a book come out, send them a freebie. And, boy, you better believe they're going to talk that book up, too. Before I started Sormeg, I was a huge fan of Rochelle Ayler's. I loved her. I wrote her a fan letter. That's how much I loved her books. And I sent her, and I told her, I love your books. I love your books. And she put me on her when the book releases list. So I got a freebie every time a new book came out. Oh, my goodness. This was before Sormeg. So I was talking about, people heard about Rochelle for years before I even started Sormeg. So that's an influencer. At that time, I didn't know I was an influencer. I love this woman. I love her books. I'm going to tell everybody about it. So you're going to find some readers who want to do that. And make sure that you let them know that you appreciate them sending your stuff out there. But if you don't tell anybody, nobody will never know. And my last thing is to create a plan for your promotion and promote. A lot of people don't sit down and create a plan of what they need to do, and I suggest that you do that. You have something you're doing every month for your book so you can see what you're doing to promote your book. If you don't have a clue about that, contact me. This is something that I started doing for a reasonable fee. I work with writers to set up their own promotion plan. And so you can reach me at onesormeg@gmail.com, and we can sit down and create you a plan if you want to do something like that. That's it.
Well, awesome. I appreciate all those good tips, and I will definitely make sure I jot some of those down, too, for people who can't listen to the podcast so they can go back and read those notes. Just one last question I have for you. I know you did this last year, and you've done it a few years in a row. Are you planning to do your Sormeg online conference again this year?
Yes, I will be doing the Sormeg conference this year. I decided, and I used to do it every other year, and I hadn't done it in a while. And so last year I said, I'm going to do the conference, and I held it, and we had such a good time. Everybody participating in the panel discussions were very lively. Well, I guess I should explain this. The online Sormeg online conference was started in 1999 before it was just called the online conference at that time. I didn't have Sormeg. But I wanted to attend a conference, but I couldn't afford to go to one, and I didn't have vacation time to go to one. So I said, I wanted to have a conference come to me. And so I had attended this ladies' conference she did on organizing your life. And so I contacted her, and she was very helpful in, telling me what to do and how to set one up. And so that year I set one up and had the first one. And it has grown a lot since then. At that time, it was just only on the website, and we did live chats, which was really fun, typing all that, trying to have conversations, typing everything in. But this last one we did was it was held on the blog, and the panel discussions were held over telephone. So that was interesting doing it that way. You could talk to the people and see. This year, I'm hoping to do some Hangouts where we actually can see the people there and participate that way. Hopefully this year we'll invite some more editors. We did, people could submit their book proposals to editors, which was really good. And we did a lot of talking to writers about the writer's business, about indie publishing and writing. And so hopefully we'll have a little more type of classes like that. I wanted to be a little more interactive this year than it was last year.
Well, cool. Well, yeah, I think if you add the Google Plus Hangout, that should be great. It's always great, even when you're online, to kind of see face-to-face, have that interaction. So I think that would be great, a great way to do your panels, if that's what you decide to do. I look forward to participating. I participated last year and I think a couple of years before. So I will definitely encourage people whenever you get your graphics and things ready. I'll be happy to definitely send people your way to the SORMAG online conference. So I really enjoyed talking to you today. I think I've learned a good bit more about you than I knew about you and how you've been running SORMAG and all the things that you do. You do a lot.
Yeah, sometimes.
So before we leave, I do want people to know how to find you. Could you tell us the website and also some of the, your favorite social media spots so where people can find you?
Okay. SORMAG is SORMAG.com, and then you can go there and you can get the links to the blog. The blog is on another site, but I'm on Facebook. Oh my goodness, LinkedIn, Twitter under LaShaunda Hoffman, and then we have SORMAG has a SORMAG fan page. I'm on so much stuff, it's a shame, isn't it? Pinterest. I just started doing podcasts, so we're on Spreaker.com. I used to do an online radio show, and so I thought, podcasts would be kind of fun. So I've been interviewing writers. It's called the Writers Cafe, and we do the writer's life. What is it like to be a writer? Different things like that. We talked about balance and things this year. I also do the See You on the Net, which is promotional tips on the podcast. So that's something new that I'm doing. That's it. I'm just, as they say, everywhere. I try to get out there a lot and meet different people. I love meeting new writers and helping them promote their books because I know it's hard to get out there and meet people. And so I try to introduce you to my readers so they'll know who you are and hopefully support you. You need to reach me. I'm at onesormag@gmail.com.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview today with LaShaunda Hoffman of SORMAG. If you're interested in finding out more about her literary services, you can definitely visit the website at sormag.com. That's SORMAG. I also, before I leave you for this podcast, I wanted to point out to you to be sure to check out the SORMAG online conference. It's a really great conference for you to attend. You don't have to go anywhere or pay any money for hotels or planes or gas money. It's all free, and you get the opportunity to listen to many authors and other literary service providers tell you things that you may want to know about indie publishing, traditional publishing, writing. Pretty much, LaShaunda makes sure that she covers all aspects of the publishing industry and the book business. So be sure to register for that, the SORMAG online conference. It should be starting soon. I believe the dates are going to be starting October 31st and will be till November 2nd, 2014. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and leave you. And just as a reminder to tell you that you are more than an author. You are a literary entrepreneur. Writing and marketing is a business. Let's learn how to tell the world about